Hey guys, it's Tartan coming at you with another game on Minecraft. Really, it's just wheat. You know what we do here. You're savvy. You know what's up. First we gotta get some wheat seeds. There's not quite enough, so we're gonna get some. And then we're gonna go and plant it. You know the drill. I sure hope you do. I sure hope you don't think you're here for anything other than wheat. What you see is what you get. Artisanal, handcrafted, hand-planted, sun-raised. Wheat today, wheat forever. Just wheat. But lately, I won't say I'm becoming obsessed with the idea. It's not risen to that level. As someone who actually gets obsessed with things sometimes, you don't want to use a word when you just mean you're merely thinking about it. But I've started thinking about what it would be like to have the most wheat in the world. Because I didn't dare to dream of it for the longest time, but now I've been told that the world record wheat field is not even that big of a wheat field. Not in my opinion. Which is to say it's basically the size of mine, but barely bigger. Angelo! Hello, my friend. How are you? I hope you've been well. Nice to see you. Say what a coincidence you're making this time. Yes. I'm in fine form now. Now that I'm not playing Hades. That was a frustrating run. I kept failing. I turned the difficulty on the final boss up to the final form of the fight, and man, I am not equal to it. To him there. Wow, yeah. Well, welcome. Yeah, our time change will happen in November, so we'll be an hour closer to you. Or rather, we go back an hour. You stay the same, I think. I don't think you do a ridiculous government-controlled daylight savings time, as if the daylight cares. But tomorrow, I'm gonna wake up and just lay around in bed, and it's gonna be great, because I'm on vacation. Because, today was just like my normal day off, so while it's part of my vacation, it doesn't feel like it yet, you know. You no longer do that? I wish we would get rid of it. I find it infuriating, just adapt to the world, stop trying to make the world controlled by you, Don't tell the sun not to rise. Just, work it out. But, plenty of people want to have a life where the seasons don't matter, right? Where everything's always the same. And boy, do I ever sympathize. But it's just very annoying when they change the clocks. I don't approve. I've never approved. As a child, I didn't like it, and I don't like it still. Because, it's just a personal bitterness, right? Whenever I was waking up at 5 in the morning to milk the goat, the idea that other people needed to have more daylight to do what they needed to do was just, so aggravating to me. I'm I can get up and milk this goat in the dark. I don't see why you need to change the clocks. That's basically all it comes down to. Hey, Froggy. Perfect day to end of the day. Wheat. Indeed. another banana sword. Nice. Nice. An amazing time, I bet. No, I looked up a couple 3D printing things, and then of course the internet was like, would you like only 3D printing content? But this one guy, you know, that came up, I forget, but anyway, this dude had made like a huge Gundam, like a life-size Gundam, not a Gundam-sized Gundam, but like a human-sized one out of 3D printed stuff. And I think it was on Reddit, actually. I may not have actually been given this by the internet. It's algorithm. It might have just been up there. But, and in the picture, though, he had, like, a statue of Guan Yu and of Lu Bu from historical and, you know, Romance of the Three Kingdoms era China, you know, like... They were definitely in their fancy heroic get-up, and they're very large statues. I was like, oh man, that's what I would do. That's what I would do if I had a 3D printer. I would make some sweet statues of Guan Yu on horses, just raising his Green Dragon Crescent Blade up. Oh, what a guy. Been 2 months? Oh, well, we'll do a quick old flyover real fast and then plant a little more. You know, we haven't been planting that much. I've been very engaged with the games we've been playing. Because a while ago, like, Silksong came out, and then I got Total War Three Kingdoms, which I've just been very, very interested in. We took over China earlier today. That was very fulfilling. Oh, we have wheat seeds in here. We have wheat seeds in a box. What will we think of next? Once upon a time, I used to have, like, all of these used to just have wheat seeds in them, you know, but things are different now, and we're more wheat limited. But, you know, I would say, like, pretty well, you know, like, this expansion is, like, very honorable and good, you know, like, that's, this is a solid amount of work to get done over here. And over there, it's just, you know, because this is... You know, all the stuff on this side of this little makeshift river, you know, that's new. So that's, like, you know, that's a good chunk. You got a 3D printed capybara set? Nice. They are such fascinating animals, I think. I've only ever seen them, you know, in a zoo. But I remember, you know, like, they have a fun name. And they look so interesting, you know, messing around in their thing. I remember, like, you know... reading about them in books and stuff, and they would be one of the things I always wanted to make a point to go and see when we were at the zoo. They are the biggest rodents. That's just one of the many fun things about them. They're so big, though. It's so adorable. Obviously, you can't pet an animal at the zoo, but you kind of want to give them a little scratch, you know. I just, like, you know, in Avatar: The Last Airbender, when Zuko's uncle, you know, I was just, like, hanging out in the hot spring there that he's made hot before they capture him and whatever in, like, book 1. That's how I always imagined, like, in Kabriwara in their spare time. Right, you know, just, like, hanging out in a pool of water, like, just, like, floating around, just chilling. Never watched Avatar? Ah, well, anyway. Well, then that comparison won't mean anything to you. I guess I just always assume that everybody has. Anyway, I really liked it. My younger siblings like it. But yeah, but we also expanded here. You know, so we have this whole crescent, which is where we're going to work right now. This crescent's gonna look awesome too, especially like with the nearly, you know, the sort of symmetrical seaming hits there. That's kind of fun. But anyway, it's time to work. You want an owl? Or just an owl? I don't know how feasible it is to get one, unfortunately. They are very interesting birds. But I know, like, if you're, like, real dedicated or whatever, you can, like, absolutely get, like, a falcon, you know, but I don't know about an owl, though. I don't know if they let you. I mean, you could do it, you'd have to get, like, probably, like, real qualified. You can get a falcon if you're just, like, a rich person, right? It might be for owls, too, I don't know. I'm not rich enough for a falcon. It's like, I have this funny falcon anecdote. No, I shouldn't share it. It's too current eventy. It's not really. Alright. I'll just remove all the proper nouns and share it as an amusing story. Once, a young man, a troubled young man from a wealthy family, had a falcon. And he took it with him wherever he went. And then one day, because he was a troubled young man, he and his friends were having like a confrontation with a police officer. And one thing led to another, and this person threw the bird at the policeman. And anyway, this guy that I'm talking about, whose name we're not going to say, totally ended up like having a position in government later in life. And that is the funny falcon story for the day. That did happen. I'm not even going to say what year it happened in, because it's not important. But like I said, like if you just have a lot of money, you can get a falcon. A lot of money, you can learn everything. Indeed. You know, just some things you have to go through a lot of extra steps to get. Like, the example I would use for that is like a bald eagle feather in America is very tightly legally controlled. And while you could theoretically have one if you weren't allowed to, even an incredibly rich person couldn't, like, wear one on a necklace. Like, they probably couldn't. They'd probably get in trouble. They wouldn't try to, though. Orange Frog, you say it's not helpful for which politician it is? Ah, well, good. Good that I removed absolutely enough context and made it oblique enough to where we don't know, and it's just a fun story that did happen. I'm not making it up. That would be funny, though. But as it happens, this is the beginning of this story is going to be weird, but bear with me. So there's a skull on the wall. It's a cow skull. You know, I could lead with that right here. You know, I'm not going to show it to you on the thing, but you know, it's there. The people that lived across the street from me growing up were of indigenous descent, and you know, our neighbor, he was a real cool guy, and he had a workshop garage thing where he made, you know, traditional crafts and stuff. And it was one that he made back in '95. And, you know, it's like an heirloom of my family, basically. It doesn't belong to me. It's just been here, like, as a decoration sort of thing in this house for quite some time. You know, it's not mine. It's the family's. But, No, Froggy, I don't talk about current events. But anyway, the point I'm making with the skull is that it has like a couple large turkey feathers on the side of it. And whenever I was a kid, there was one time that one of my friends that came over to stay the night saw it and like thought they were eagle feathers and like went and told his parents that like we had this like bald eagle sculpture feather thing going on, and which would have been mega illegal, but they ended up just calling my parents, and probably only that kid and me remember the story. I'm sure I don't know, maybe our parents do. No, sometimes I wish I had like a politics and current events channel, but then I would just be a very unhappy person saying dumb things that were usually wrong, just like everybody else. And I would rather play video games, right? That's what I would prefer. So even if I think it would be a really funny thing, I try to stay away from it. Not from like politics in general, one can never stay away from politics, Whenever I roll up on a village in Minecraft and take all their stuff, there's an internal and an external motivation and justification that are there, and that's a political act. The tribute that the villages give to me as the hero is inherently a political thing, as is my acceptance of the tribute. And we can't get away from that. But that's different than current events, which I do always try to avoid. Yeah, Froggy. I don't know. So they had an actual falcon, and they threw the physical, like they were in book 1 of the Dark Tower. They threw the bird at the cop. Which that's bad. I shouldn't laugh. Like you shouldn't throw birds at people. It's just. It's an insane thing to do. I often will laugh when recounting or being told things that are like wild and sort of inappropriate, which I do worry about. I worry sometimes that people are going to take me to test like, you just started laughing when you were telling this awful thing. I'm like, oh, I meant that I was uncomfortable. I didn't mean that this thing that I'm laughing about is funny. It's kind of good enough for right there, honestly. Getting up to the tree line for right now, I didn't mean like good enough for like the earth. Oh, so it never ever actually happened? I thought it was like related in a book that they had written, or it had written, but of course people with troubled histories are sometimes not reliable narrators. But yes, actually, of course, not even the craziest animal story in that person's life. there were a couple of times where like I went to work and I just started laughing before I even like said hello to my buddy that I always talk about current events. I'm like, oh, I can't hold it together. Have you seen? I'm like thinking I'm gonna just like throw up from laughing so hard, and then I proceed to tell this incredibly grotesque story, and people are just like staring at me, and I'm like, what? Well, Angelo, you know, everyone's different, and I guess that guy just wanted to do that that day, and more power to him is what I say. You know, not everybody knows who they want to be at the start of life, and sometimes people can end up in professions or social situations that make it seem a little out of character for them to be who they are. But I think it's good. I think it's good for people to find out, because you know it's really a great sadness whenever people restrict themselves from what they want for themselves because of what people expect of them. Well, Froggy, you see, there's an art to talking about political ideas without touching any of the general buzzwords and engaging in sort of like what I would call low common denominator, if not lowest common denominator, ways of talking about things. But most people aren't interested in nuance, right? Like it's not very punchy. It makes you sound too reasonable. But really just approaching it as if you're saying, I don't want to do that thing that everyone's always doing is basically enough to avoid it. Angela, yeah, you know, when you tell a story like that, it sounds like a very common tale. I don't know if I would call it funny, though. Because like I said, you know, not everybody knows who they are or who they want to be until their life already gets going. And, you know, even if it was a guy who it seems incongruent with his life, you know, to behave or appear some way. You know, I just think it's kind of sad for somebody to get run through the public eye. But, you know, like, maybe he was a jerk. I don't know anything about it. But, I don't know. I wish we lived in a world where it was easier for people to figure out who they were, and then maybe we wouldn't have situations that embarrassed folks as often. I'm sure there's no way to avoid it, though. So he He was a relatively hateful guy on the general subject, I see. Yeah, well, that's a sad irony itself, isn't it? And also a very common tale. This sheep is in my field, and now I know that the pickaxe has damage, unlike the hoe. So we're gonna use the pickaxe to slay the animals. Get out of my field, miserable swine. Poor pig. He'll be alright. Plenty of opportunities to get reincarnated in this Minecraft world. And he'll just have to take one of them now. Maybe in a future life he'll become a spikelet of wheat. A better fate that waits for most of us. I fear I'll never turn into wheat. Be a good fate. Not as good as it could be, you know. Still pretty good, though. This reincarnated has to be the main thing. You know, I don't know if we've determined what the real beliefs are other than wheat is good. Maybe we one day will actually build the Temple of Wheat. Oh, Angelo, you haven't been around, so Froggy looked it up. We need to confirm whatever, but... So apparently the world record wheat field is only like 268,000 blocks. So, you know... Small. Just very small. Because we... You know, having used 334k blocks, that's, I mean, we're at what, almost 250k right now? Exactly. So, like, we are at 95% or so of the record, if that's the record, indeed. So, like, just really close. I mean... 20,000 blocks, I could do that in an afternoon, you know. I won't. But we're like, you know... And then maybe I will have to build the temple. That, like... I might one day have the most Minecraft wheat in the world. Isn't that cool? Like, I'll be able to hang my hat on that for the rest of my life. If I ever meet somebody ever again, and they're like, oh, are you good at anything? I'll be like, yeah, you know, for a brief moment in time, I had the most wheat. And they'll say, what? And I'll say, oh, allow me to elaborate. The thing I've been waiting to talk about all year. Oh, it'll be such a celebration. I guess afterward we'll just plant like some more wheat. Probably. Do we have an axe on us? No. Of course not. Should put that in a resume. Well, hopefully I'll never need to fill out another one. No, applying for jobs is the worst. I basically only ever get them because somebody I know tells me to go somewhere and that they will get me a job. That is how it's always been. The idea of just going up to a stranger, like, why even bother? Any place that needs a resume doesn't want to hire a guy like me. If I needed a job, like if you just dropped me in to a city with $25 and said, get a job, I would go buy some non-slip shoes, I would go into a restaurant at 3 in the afternoon and say, let me show you what I can do. That's what I would do. But I wouldn't fill out a resume. If they told me to fill out a resume on their website, I would say, I don't have a smartphone. Just let me cook. Let me fry an onion or something. Let me describe to you the way to make bread. You know, that kind of thing. And I can't imagine a call to ever fill out a resume to make a resume again, rather. Once I had a resume, someone made me put one together. It was terrible. And then I got a job through somebody that I knew, and I didn't need the resume. The channel bio. You know, there isn't a channel bio, and there never has been one. I might eventually get one. I guess, look, having some descriptor is fine. I just, you know, I don't know. I've never had one. And inertia is a powerful motivator for me. I'm like, well, if not having a biography was good enough for me 12 years ago, and good enough for me 8 years ago, and good enough for me that madman 4.5 years ago, it's gotta be good enough for me now. But we just couldn't refuse to elaborate. Oh, if only I was capable of refusing to elaborate, right? Unfortunately, that's how you can get me. Oh, the thunder rolls, and we go to sleep through it. Of course, that's the fun time. The rain in the savannah. It won't rain, but it will thunder. Important to know, maybe. So, knowing that, why do we plant in the savannah? Well, you see, because it is there. And really, it's not all savannah here. The beginning of the wheat field is grassland. It's just savannah on either side of it. So, like, this biome here becomes savannah, right? But right in here, this is all, like, forest or grassland. I forget which. Doesn't say where it used to anymore. Anyway, I'd probably have to There we go. Yeah, plains. Look how beautiful it is there. Stretching out. And when you're at this angle, you could be forgiven for thinking that it would go on forever, right? Oh, if only. What I love about Wheat Mountain, I know I say this all the time, is how deceptive it is. Because when you're coming at it from this angle, it's like, wow. And then you get to the other side and you're like, okay, that's got to be like the same size, but it isn't. Like, this side of Wheat Mountain is so much bigger than this side, right? You could fit like two of the front half, as I identify, you know, on the before the cap there, the summit. It's just so pretty. Pity to page his article on wheat. I would have to learn more about it. Maybe one day. Maybe one day I'll get an education in wheat. Father's Baker, I did remember that, yeah. We're on the same page about wheat being good. I need to make some bread. I'm on vacation this whole next week, which I know I've been saying, but I'm gonna keep on saying it because it's just a really nice thing to be true. I like saying it and knowing that it's true. But I should make some bread, I should make some fudge, I should make all of the things. Now, of course, it's crucial that we don't leave too many of these items on the ground. The world would actually end if these leathers and raw beef didn't go into the boxes to never be touched again. Hey, Cast. Oh yeah, did you see all of it? Earlier in the video we did a tour. We can fly over it. We're about to end the video, actually. I was just mending the tools up. Well, if you said that's a lot of wheat, then you must have looked at it at some point. But yeah, I have almost the most wheat in the world, actually. At least I think that's true. That's what we're going with. I have a lot of wheat, though. Yeah, you know, we keep chipping away at it. It's definitely come a long way from the initial field there that I once thought was so much. But of course, once I was flying around, I was showing the wheat field, and somebody was like, "Wait, that yellow is wheat?" I thought it was sand. And I was like, "Oh no. Oh, well, you're in for a surprise." But yeah, but this is this side of the field because we didn't fly over all this, in that recent bit. But yeah, it's that this is what I mean whenever I say I have a lot of wheat. Yes, it's I'm just a regular guy with regular aspirations. Other people want to be the biggest and the strongest. I don't even want to exercise. I just want to bang on my drum all day and have the most wheat in the world. That's all I want. There's Turtle Beach, very important. Turtle Beach was part of the tour in the very first wheat episode. I'll just say past 2 months, did some jobs as a photographer, got some money, paid your phone, got a boyfriend, that's working great. Awesome, dude, that's great. It's good to it's good whenever somebody's gone for a while and it's all good news, It's always nice, because it's like how to say it. Like it's so enjoyable having people around regularly, right? Getting to hang out and get people's input and just, share the space a little bit. But, it's always good too when people, fill up their time with other things, because I'm like, how fulfilling can it even be to talk to me, to hang around with me, because I'm like a very emotionally aloof guy, right? And but the whole format of what I'm doing here with, the conversations with people, internet, because it's like I know I've talked about this before, but it's like because this is such a small scale, there's so much room for sincerity and genuine connection and actually missing people when they're not around. And there's people that sometimes you see every day doing this kind of thing, and then you don't see them, and you're like, okay, are they all right? And of course they are. Of course they are. I'm just a guy on the internet. They don't need to write a comment and be like, hey, I'm not gonna be around for a little while. It's ridiculous. But I still it's funny how things can just change on you. Because I spend so much of my time doing this now, which is great. I wouldn't trade it for hanging out with people in real life who have expectations, and I'm fully capable of being rude, but it's so much easier to be rude on the internet. That's what the wheat field is about, growing together with the field. Exactly, And it'll be here whenever people come back, if they want to. And look, if somebody decides they're bored with my content, no one understands more than me. Look, I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't. I don't even like me very much. I don't like the way my voice sounds. I think I'm an obnoxious tryhard know-it-all. But I'm locked in here with me, so I can't help but exhibit these traits. I try not to worry about it too much, right? Because all the stuff I don't like about myself, I barely even notice it unless I bring it up. When other people mention it, I don't even care. And most of the time, whenever I mention it, I don't care either, like right now. But it's like that Hemingway line from The Sun Also Rises, where he goes, it's awfully easy to be hard-boiled about everything in the daytime, but at night, it is another thing. What a good book. What a good book. I'm responsible until you say, yeah, the time zones. Exactly. Yeah. And that's the thing, too, is I, because I'm a cook, so the times that I have for streaming aren't, it's always conducive. And I don't often play, like, the chill stuff that I play in the middle of the day. It's more of, like, a wind down or after work thing. So even on my days off, if somebody caught it, it might be a whole different thing. I barely ever play Minecraft in the middle of the day anymore. Barely ever. What's the... How long have we played? Just 18 days in this world. Probably only a lot of them for wheat. I don't know how much time we actually spent on wheat, because it's not like this world is just wheat. It's just all we do here now. Say you don't come back for me or something when you can. Well, cool. I look forward to seeing you then. And I don't know how much more work we'll do on the wheat field between now and then, but we'll try to do some. We always try to do a little bit every now and then. And two, if all I have is like 30 minutes, it's the ideal thing to do, especially whenever I've been failing at some other video game all day long. Nah, it's not fair. I took over China. I've only been failing at Hades. I'm glad you like what I make here. It's very low effort, but I like to think that the authenticity is what keeps the people coming back for more. If what you see is what you get, then you don't have to worry about anything about it, rather than just whether or not you like it, because you can always get the exact same thing. Just wheat. Just wheat. Just wheat. Well, I guess that'll do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Really hope you enjoyed. I know I did. It's just nice to sit around and have a little bit of wheat sometimes. There's sometimes a lot of wheat. It just depends. But unlike normal Thursdays, there's no work tomorrow, so I'll be around. But I'll be around all day tomorrow. But of course, it's time for your Marcus Aurelius for the day. So here's book 7, Number 62. I just like to flip through it and open to one, you know, it often is nice. So here's number 62, book 7. Look at who they really are, the people whose approval you long for, and what their minds are really like. Then, you won't blame the ones who make mistakes they can't help, and you won't feel a need for their approval. You will have seen the sources of both, their judgments and their actions. Just some good advice from Marcus there. So often we can lose the perspective that other people are doing things based on who they are and not based on their effects on us. Not that that reduces the responsibility they have, but it can often be really useful for analysis and for making sure you don't misconstrue people. You gotta construe them. You don't want to misconstrue them. That's my advice for the day. Just regular construement. That's what you gotta do. You just gotta plant wheat and perceive. But anyway, bye Angelo. So nice to see you here. Bye Cast. Bye Froggy if you're around. And bye everyone else who may have been here. It's just wheat. And, maybe one day I'll have the most. And you better believe I'm going to brag about it all the time. I'm going to get t-shirts, not for other people, just for me. I'm just going to get, like 50 t-shirts made that say most wheat in Minecraft with a picture of a mustache. Not even mine, someone else's mustache. Like a picture of one. Be good. This is the kind of world I want to live in. Just wheat. Anyway, good night, everybody. And maybe I'll see you in a stream or video tomorrow or in some indeterminate point in the future. See ya.